I don't understand how people drink one. I don't understand why you. I loved being drunk.
When winters come and springtime's new, when the redbirds start
Welcome to the Marinade, a free-flowing conversation about the creative process with creative people. Each episode we welcome musicians, actors, comedians, authors, visual artists, filmmakers, anyone who creates art to talk about how and why we make stuff. This is episode 190, and our guest for the second time is Kelsey Waldon. Kelsey is a singer and songwriter from Monkey's Eyebrow, Kentucky. Over the course of 4 EPs and 6 full-length albums, Kelsey has established herself as an artist firmly in tune with herself as a writer, yet not content with resting on her sterling reputation. With each record, her pen has further flowered, culminating in this instance with an invigorating album that pays homage to country music's past while forging toward a confessional, self-reflective, vulnerable brand of tunes that stands out even among her esteemed peers. Everyone, it is my honor to bring you my conversation with Kelsey Waldon.
Death has divided us here on earth. You've gone to rest somewhere on high. I'll plant the seeds that you gave to me. Here in my garden, they'll never die.
This is the one, and I'm so glad you're here. Thank you so much for doing this. It's good to connect with you again.
Yeah, can you hear me pretty good? Because I'm outside.
Yeah, you sound good. Do I sound okay on your end?
You do. There's like cars. There's a little bit of like road noise, but hopefully that's not.
No, I mean, that stuff doesn't, as long as I can hear you, that stuff doesn't bother me. Like a little bit of, I've been thinking about that a lot with, because I got all this, one of my Patreon patrons, shout out to Seth Gill, gave me all this fancy gear.
Yeah.
And so like I've gotten, and I'm not using any of it right now because I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
Mhm.
But I'm trying to upgrade sound quality and stuff. But I kind of like the fact that my show, like when you and I last talked was back in 2019.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if you remember that, but it was at the Bob Carr Theater here in Orlando.
Uh,
And
yes.
it was in December and we were backstage, right? And like you could hear John Prine sound checking, and it's just like such a special thing. Like some of that stuff, a little road noise doesn't bother me, right? Like I
I
kind
don't
of
know.
like that my show's that way.
Well, the birdies are chirping too. I mean, it's all good. There is a pretty big turkey next door, and he hopefully will chill out, but he gobbles quite a bit.
Well, I wanted to show you something to start off because we kind of talked about this last time, but check this out.
Oh wow. Is that yours?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, we moved to Florida from Kentucky when I was like 7. So this is like I don't know if you see the date on there, but I just thought that was great because of your song
Those are
Kentucky 1988.
well yeah, and those are the old license. I got one. I don't know if you can see it up
Oh,
on
uh-huh.
it's like the same. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
It's those are all my like granddaddy's old like farm plates and stuff. I have all of them that I kept. So I got some of them hanging up out here just for the vibe of the back porch. So
That's so fun. Yeah, for
uh,
folks listening or just listening, we're this has become a license plate podcast. We're just showing Kentucky license plates.
yeah, I thought I was actually on a license plate podcast. It's fine.
Yeah, well, I got to rearrange my notes, but we can just talk license plates the whole time if you want to. Yeah.
Cool.
Um, I know I want to talk about so much. I want to talk about it's crazy to me. I was looking back at it, just thinking it feels like yesterday that we were sitting at the Bob Carr Theater backstage, and yet it's been almost 6 years, 5.5 years, and so much has changed in 5.5 years. And I was listening to I've been listening to your record, Um, comes out later this year. I've been listening to it on repeat. I've been a fan of yours for a long time, as you know, and as folks listening know. This is just a stunning record, Kelsey. This is your best work, in my opinion, and it's just incredible. I can't stop listening to it. Like,
That I love to hear that. I need to hear that, because not because of any sort of validation. I just I just feel like when I just get really kind of in the middle of the whole process and like the album rollout process and it's just I don't know, it's just nice to and then you kind of like keep it to yourself and then you share it with the world and it's just nice to hear that people are responding, and that it means that much. So yeah, that means a lot. I mean, I I feel like I've been working um for a while to kind of dial in kind of the sound and
mm,
um this one just feels really good. It was inspired from the moment that we kind of went in and I had the songs and I don't know, just every step of the process was came from a pure inspired place. So
let's dive into that a little bit. Because I think it feels to me. I was writing about it last night. I was listening to the record and just like writing some things down about what I heard and what I felt as I'm listening to the record. And I was thinking like it feels, especially the first part of the album, but really the whole thing feels really confessional. It feels self-reflective.
mhm.
It feels very vulnerable in places. Um, do you f- do you agree with that characterization? And how conscious were you of it during the whole process?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it's incredibly vulnerable. I mean, I think I'm just too at the point where I'm just tired of like, I mean, it's just I have nothing to lose and I'm not trying to prove anything
Mm,
about it, I just, you know, I feel like sometimes we get so caught up in, in different fears and this and that and I don't know. I mean, I don't want to say I don't care anymore, being like, I don't care because I very much care about, like my art and like my everything that's like, but there's also a whole other kind of like layer now that it's like, you know, I just, I don't know. It feels like, we've just been working really hard too out on the road and a lot has happened since we last talked, I mean, a lot has changed in life. I mean, I mean, we survived a pandemic. I mean, we, got back on the road. I mean, there was kind of a lot of things that I've been dealing with. I don't know, it feels like every album has been true, of course. I mean, it's been true and authentic to me. I mean, it's not like, this is like any different than that. Like this album, you
mm.
know what I mean? Like it's not like it's any different as far as like, you know, but it does feel like I have tapped into something like very true to myself. You know what I
Mm.
mean?
Okay, so two things from
Yeah.
there. One, I think that's awesome that you're at a place of not being as consumed with like maybe what other people think or how things are received, that kind of thing. That's something I'm really struggling with right now. I think I'm way too concerned with how I'm
Well,
received and
you
how
gotta
things are
give it
received.
up. You gotta
So
give
how, okay, so help me get there. Like, how did
yeah,
you
yeah,
get to
yeah.
that place? How did you
I'm
get to that
like,
place?
it feels so good. Just let it go. Yeah.
So,
No.
so how did you get there though? That's not an easy, I mean, I hear you saying let it go, but it ain't that easy, right? Like, how did you get to that place?
I don't know. I think I just, especially like, I mean, hell in the last the last 5, 6 years, but definitely in like the past like couple months. I think since like October. I mean, just everything I've went through too. I just think I've had some, you know, some shit happen in my life too that's like I don't know, there's just a lot of things that put things into perspective where you're just like, it just doesn't matter,
Hmm.
you know. Um when you're kind of balancing all of that. Sorry, my little doggy's barking. So
No, dogs are always welcome on the show.
she is just a little it's probably the oh my goodness.
I don't hear the dog at all.
I hear it.
Uh-uh.
I just closed the door. It's the UPS man.
Oh, well, that
She's
son of a bitch, he
yeah.
deserves it. Yeah.
I know. She was being so good. She was chilling out here. But man, I don't know. Yeah, I think just over time and just kind of thinking about what really matters and a lot of this stuff is hard, It's like a lot of what we do is kind of just like thankless hard work and
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, I've had some stuff happen recently too that's really made me think about how I spend my time and I just I'm so sorry. I don't know if you can hear Luna barking in there. Can you hear?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No, she's good. My dogs are a constant presence on this show. It's
Well,
folks are used to some barking. No, I don't hear her at
it
all.
should have been kept down in the basement, but anyway, well it was distracting me. So
Okay.
yeah. Hey, here we go. All right. Well, I don't know if this is going to be in the podcast or not, but
Some of it
let's see.
will. Some of
Got to
it
see the
won't.
realness. Yeah, maybe cut some of that out. Sit down. Sit.
Some of the dead air, but
Yeah, there we go.
Luna's welcome to be a guest
Okay.
on here as well.
She's a good girl, but she's a
What kind of dog is she?
she is a red heeler,
Mm.
Australian dog. So she's incredibly protective. She loves the UPS man because he gives her milk bones. So
Oh.
I think the door was shut and she was losing her mind.
Oh.
But but anyway, back to that was a serious question, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like yeah, now that I can think a little bit, just everything, you experience so much on the road too and different band transitions. I mean, I don't know. I've just really gone through kind of a lot of hurdles. I mean, some of it like stressful stuff. I mean, kind of all for like, the sake of like my love and passion for this thing, and
Mm.
I mean, the truth of the matter is like, and I'd be doing it no matter what. It's like that Gillian Welch song, like, they would like they found out we'll do it anyway, even if it doesn't pay.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we just had a lot of time too to, stretch it out on the road and have that blood, sweat, and tears and I think really dial into what I've wanted and as far as my sound and I don't know, I'm just always trying to stay inspired and have it come from a pure real place. I mean,
Mm.
as long as that's happening, then I'll always be making music.
Mm.
As long as
Well, you mentioned sound a couple of times, and I think sonically that's one of the things that stands out about the record is I've always loved your sense of melody, and on this particular album, there's like I was just jotting some notes last night as I was listening. I mean, it kicks off, and I kind of love an album opener that just really grabs you, right? And Ghost of Myself really grabs you, and it's got that Way Moore's Blues kind of feel to it, and but like headier,
yeah,
it's like a headier version of Way Moore's Blues, um, and and this album is so that I love when someone is able to do this, and it's rare. How there's a lot of like there's a foot in 70s, 80s, and even 90s country with these songs.
Yeah.
Yet it's just sounds so fresh, and it's very much a you record. And I'm curious about the sound, like how
Yeah.
if you were conscious of the same thing at that I'm hearing, and also just sort of how sonically it came together, because that's one of the, I mean, the lyrics are outstanding throughout from top to bottom.
I
But one of
appreciate
the things that jumped out to me immediately was just how good it sounds.
Thank you. Um, yeah, I love that you asked that and you mention it because I feel like a lot of people won't. I mean, some people will,
Mm,
uh, I think the real ones will, and people that actually matters to will.
mhm,
But yes, to answer your question, yeah, absolutely, we thought about that. I mean, that's we went out to Memphis to record this record, which was really important for me to do too, because I'd never done a record in Memphis. I've always wanted to. I always want to like kind of make a record in a place too that has a little juju, and has like, I don't know, the good ghost, we're talking about ghost here. And there's still places like that in Nashville, but obviously a lot of places are kind of being torn down or they're just, incredibly outrageous to get into. But
mm.
we went out to Matt Ross Bang's studio and used his studio to record this record, Southern Grooves in Memphis. And me and my partner Justin Francis co-produced it together. Of course, Justin's an incredibly talented person. I think I just got to where too with that, it's like who knows you better than, I don't know. It's like kind of keeping it all in the family,
Mm, mhm.
and all of my vision, I mean, truly became executed. I mean, yeah, we were truly tapping into a sonic sound. I mean, Matt obviously has all that analog gear. But I mean, my vocal was ran through like, reverb chamber that was used on like Harper Valley PTA, I mean,
Oh, wow.
there was like that aspect to it. And even down to like the drums. I mean, we made sure that stuff was the kit. I mean, we made sure that was like, I mean, I wanted it to sound like 1978, like Hank Jr., Waylon, like
Hmm.
you know, and a lot of people are kind of lost on those. It's kind of funny because I have the the song Comanche on there, but when I first got my old truck, it plays CDs, and so for a long time, I got basically a new like, this little trapper keeper of like CDs because I hadn't listened to I mean, obviously I listened to full albums, but I think it's a lot different like when you're riding around and like that's just what's playing in your truck again.
Hmm.
It's like classic albums, not just streaming them on Spotify. And so actually, yeah, I mean, I had a little Whiskey Bent and Hellbound in there. I had that Hank Jr. album, like The New South. Like I was like listening to stuff that I was like, I'd never really completely dived into. And I was like, this is a I was like, this is a vibe. I was like, and I've always loved that era. I mean, I think it's just just where it's more like, using acoustic riffs and using like obviously like and I started incorporating the fiddle into the band. So I think it just yeah, I think I was inspired by Waylon actually produced that uh Hank Jr. record,
I
the
didn't
new
know that.
yeah, and honestly like I know a lot of people think this or that about Hank, but those records are there is some very cool, just dark, I mean really interesting like arrangements like on those like they're those guys didn't just sit down and like they thought about that shit. I mean there was there's like real arrangements on there and just I don't know, super soulful singing. I think I just it's just a vibe, outlaw women and all that stuff. I mean,
Hmm.
even from this will just show how much I really, a lot of people do not care about this, but even down to like my kin, like I mean, there was like I wouldn't let Evan, my drummer, use like his cymbals. I was like, no cymbals, like only toms, like, because I wanted it, to sound like we just made sure there was a lot of stuff that, I mean, of course you have to let things do what it's going to do too, but yeah, I was kind of like not, I don't know. I wanted to kind of surpass Genericana, we wanted to kind of, really just make a soulful country record, I mean, I think all my records have been soulful, obviously. It's not that. It's just I was definitely like, I would say like Ramblin' Woman, my arrangement of that was kind of more we started playing that live and before we even made Tracked Every Ghost. And
Mm.
I think that cover of Ramblin' Woman and my arrangement of it was I called it like Hank Jr. meets Hazel Dickens because of the way that it came out. And yeah, I don't know. I think that was kind of the sonic star of the record, honestly, was that song. So, anyway, that all that was definitely thought about for sure.
Gosh, I could listen to you talk about that forever. All that stuff is so good. I mean, I have a CD player in my car. I have a 2015 Mazda SUV, and it's got this really old, I say really old, but fairly old school electronics interface, right? There's no screens or anything. It's all I have an aux cord, but it hardly works, So when I'm in the car, I'm either listening to the radio, and there's just very little around here, at least musically, that I want to listen to on the radio. Um, but it's either that or I'm listening to CDs. I've got stacks and stacks of CDs, right? They're spilling out everywhere. When I go to the record store, I go to the used CD section. I do exactly what you were just talking about. I pick up that like classic album that, there's that Dylan album I haven't really dove into, or that, that Waylon record I haven't listened to forever. And
Yeah.
I love it. I love that that's how you did, because it makes so much sense. That's what I kept hearing when I'm listening to the record, is I kept hearing this, like, again, and this is the exciting thing about it, is that it's rooted in all that stuff that I love so much. I mean, Waylon Jennings changed the way I listen to music, right? Like when I got into Waylon, it changed the way I thought about music. It changed the way I wrote, I listened, everything, and led me down all these different rabbit holes, right? And got me into Southern rock and all kinds of things that previously I wasn't listening to. Um, and so you've got this album that's rooted in that sound, and I love hearing how you captured it, but then also lyrically it's just so complex. I mean, you're like throughout the from top to bottom, like every song has got a moment that just makes you go, oh shit, Kelsey, okay. Like damn. um
Well, I'm glad that you feel that way. I mean, I just I don't know. I mean, it's not like I sit down and like I was actually on a all right, by the way, can you hear that? Because I might have to move inside because this literally this rooster is, well, it's like going, I might have to hear. I know, I'm so sorry.
you're good. I don't hear it at all, but obviously if it's
No,
distracting
no, come
you.
here. Come here. Well, it is because I need to get some apple pods or something. Um, you're gonna have to cut this out. I'm
All
so
good.
sorry. I
All
should have
good.
just stayed in here on the table, honestly, in my kitchen, but I was trying to get some fresh air.
I hear you.
Um,
I'm doing that right after this.
no, I appreciate that you say that about the lyrics. No, that's what I was gonna say. I was actually on a call before this with a radio station, and he was talking about, it's like obviously like the press release or whatever is like, this album covers like grief, like addiction, like all that stuff. I was like, well, I didn't just sit, it's not like I sat down and was like, I'm gonna write songs about this, I mean, it's like all my songs have kind of tapped into that, but it's like I think I just got to the point where I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I just I don't care about being around the bush. I mean, I want to write really great songs, and I don't know. I just want to really, I've just worked kind of hard to like, tap into that part of me. I mean, I want to write songs that people resonate with, I want
Mm,
to I don't know. I mean, the more I mean, I feel like you just have to go there as an artist, You can't and if you really want people to resonate with it, I think you kind of have to talk about it. I mean, as
mm,
much as you're comfortable to talk about. Um so I don't know, and I've actually had a lot of personal stuff in my life recently. It's kind of been insane just how it has coincided. Kind of some really heavy stuff that I won't go into, but
mm,
it's crazy how it's coincided with this record because
mm,
some of it was like processing and dealing with that anyway, and then it just kind of like hit a head where it's like, wow. So I mean, I've had so much of that take some of my energy like during an album release, which has been really interesting. Um, so that's just, I don't know, it's just been a real, all that to say, I mean, no, this album, I mean, it's the truth. All of it's the truth.
mm.
It's it's for real. And I can't wait to get out and kind of start, it's like it's my touring band is the band that played on it. And I'm also so proud of them, I know it's not just all about that, but I do think, that vibe is also coming through as well. It's like our vibe is like a as band. And you know, just it's I think going to Memphis, and that's what I was gonna say earlier. I mean, because I have a lot of inspiration from records there too. I mean, it's like you think about the drum tones on like early, like I would say like 78 to like 1982, like Waylon, but also especially Hank Jr. and even like early funky Charlie Daniels band and kind of all that like I'd call it gangster country,
Mm.
Uh
Those Charlie
Gangster
Fire on the
Hillbilly.
Mountain and those Charlie
Yeah,
Daniels records, Saddle Tramp.
dude, they're so
Ooh.
love them. I mean, and a lot of people don't. I know, like you know, this or that, but I love that stuff. I mean, I there's just some there's just some funky like I mean, I don't know. I love kind of that like I call it like kind of like, gangster hillbilly country. Just like I mean, it feels like I say gangster country because it feels like that because it's just hard country, It's
Hmm.
like Lefty Frizzell hard country, like Hank Senior, like, but but I think those drum tones is what I was gonna say, like the drums and bass, it's like the same stuff you'd hear on like an Al Green record, kind of like the tones, and I just think I don't know, it just really inspired me to be in Memphis for that too, and where some of John Prine's albums were made, I mean some of his just iconic records, just like the culture too of just of Memphis, it's like a lot of people don't realize that like it's still really rural and country,
Hmm.
like it's in Tennessee, but it's also like so soulful and very unique,
Hmm.
and being right there on the Mississippi. I mean, it's just yeah, I mean, I don't know, it just made kind of complete sense. And yeah, I mean, people were calling this kind of like a, soulful dark country record. I mean, I guess it is. I don't know.
Yeah. I'd say it is. I'd say it is.
And for sure. I mean, and yeah, I guess lyrically, the vulnerability. I mean, man, I don't know. I just went there. I mean, I just,
Mm.
I guess I was just tired of not going there. I just, I just wanted to, just wanted to, you know,
Well, I think we all need to go there more. And I guess I've always been pretty comfortable, maybe even too comfortable being vulnerable and sharing how I'm feeling and the emotions I'm going through and the stuff I'm enduring, not just on the podcast, but in my life in general. I feel like I'm a fairly open book, maybe to a fault. But like, I think that especially in this particular moment, this social and political moment, that we need each other more than anything. We need to feel less alone.
yeah,
And and I think when you have a record like this where you share so much and you are so vulnerable, it makes me feel less alone. You know, like I was listening to Ghost of Myself and just going like, yeah, I mean, I've been all these different iterations of me, right, throughout the years. And some of them I'm not real proud of. Not, not a big fan of that guy.
Yeah.
I was talking the other day with a friend about like me in my early 20s and just how much I've grown since then. Um, and how proud I am of this version of myself and that I got out of some of the negative attitudes and some of the things that were going to hold me back from being the best version of myself and the fullest version of myself
Mhm.
25 years ago that I now look at and I go, I still got a lot of fucking work to do, but this guy's way cooler. He's a way better person. He's a way more interesting person than that version. And so, like, listening to that song was really helpful for me the last few days as I was doing research because I'm at a place where I'm taking very intense stock of my life and deciding what those next 10, 15, 20 years look like at a
Perfect.
crossroads. And that's this whole record, but especially that song helped me process that.
That's amazing. It's amazing to hear that. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we kind of say, this album is about just kind of like honoring every ghost, not just the ghost, not just the versions of everyone you've been, but the things that haunt you, the things that, the good ghosts that have stayed beside you,
Mhm.
all those little things kind of in the cracks that we have to confront, that show us a lot more, about that, continue to show us who we really are and, about ourselves and yeah, I mean, I didn't really like, I don't know, I've probably said this in interviews before. I do not like some people I've heard, like some artists I've heard, like they'll have like the album title and like everything ready and then they write the album. Like I don't do it that way at all. Like I just have like you know, like I have like a handful of songs and I'll be like, I don't know what this is yet. You know,
Mm.
I don't know what this is, but I didn't even have the album named, when we went into the studio. I didn't really know. I mean, I just kind of, and then like finally when I had it all sitting in front of me, I was like, Every Ghost. This album is called Every Ghost, because it kind of was like, okay, what picture did I paint? And we almost didn't put Ramblin' Woman on the record, but
Mm.
I decided to because I feel like it did sonically kind of like inspire where I wanted to go sonically with the record. And we would just play it live and people would go crazy.
Yeah, it's that kind
And
of song. Yeah.
yeah, and so like,
Yeah.
Bob said done a lot of Hazel tunes and and I didn't know if I wanted to like, have it just be an original record or have that, but I was like, well, we should put it on there.
I'm
Um,
glad you did. I mean, I'm looking at the track list right now because I do want to ask you about a couple of the songs.
yeah, yeah,
But one of the challenges that I'm having is that like it's so fucking good top to bottom.
yeah. Dude,
It's like
I
I don't think
appreciate it.
because I don't think there's a standout per se just because the whole thing is so good. There's not like a moment that lulls, there's not a moment that doesn't make sense. And it's so interesting to hear you say that you weren't because it feels like the kind of work that it was like you had a concept in mind and you sat down and you made that concept come to life. It's so interesting to hear that that wasn't necessarily the process.
No. I mean, I kind of love that you say there's not a standout because people get really like, because, someone like my mama will be like, she would be like, everyone's going crazy about tiger lilies. Like, and she'll
Yeah,
be like, Comanche was really good too. And it's just like, it's not, that's such a mom thing though, to say
yeah,
I
yeah,
like, well, different people have resonated with different ones. It's not really
yeah.
about that. She's gonna love that I just talked about that on here.
That's funny.
But no, I mean, it's like, no, I mean, to me, I know we talk about John a lot, but like John Prine, I mean, it's like everybody has their, you know, I mean, you could say Angel Montgomery was a huge hit. I mean, obviously, like numerous people have covered it, but I just mean like, it's not like you listen
Mm.
to his records and they're like, this is a standout track. It's like they're all, they're all important
Yeah.
different ways, and
Yeah.
they all make the story. They're all a part of the colorful quilt.
Yeah. And I know publicists are probably going crazy over this because they want to have like the standout track or whatever, but like it really, I mean, I kept listening to this top to bottom, which is how I want. That's what I want, right? I want a full record, and I want a record that,
Yeah.
I want the whole thing. And I love what you said earlier about getting in the car, getting in the truck, and the same records playing. I found my copy of, a couple years ago, I found my copy of the Wallflowers Bringing Down the Horse, and it didn't leave my CD player for like 6 months. I listened to it every time I got in the car.
Oh, and we
You know?
forget, we forget how that feels, especially like in your, it's like in the Comanche. It's like, because like I had like the CD folder like behind the bench seat, and it's like, you don't want to just get that out and it'd be like, oh, I don't want to change the CD or whatever.
Hmm.
So it just keeps playing it. And
Hmm.
yeah, so I was hearing some of that stuff. I just yeah, especially like that song Feeling Better, the Hank Jr. It's on.
Oh God, I love that song.
Oh my God. I was like, this is the nastiest shit I've heard in a long time. I mean, I must
Hmm.
have listened to that song like, 10,000 times or something. And
That that
I don't know,
vocal
man.
on
It
that thing.
it just hit me, and like, I don't know, it was just one of those things where it like, maybe it was just the timing, maybe it was just,
Hmm.
I don't know what it was, but it just I mean, obviously I'd listen to all the, I mean, I mean, I grew up in Ballard County, Kentucky. I mean, my dad owned a hunting and fishing lodge. I mean, obviously we had heard, I mean, all that's, I mean, long hair
Yeah.
country. I mean, we listened to Outlaw Hours growing up on WKYQ,
Hmm.
the river bottoms. It's not like I was new to like, but I think just like, um, yeah, I don't know. And then when I first, took my huge deep dive into country music, I was definitely into old Hank Jr., like Cajun Baby, and like, I loved all that before the fall stuff. And then but yeah, I don't know. I just that sound kind of just hit me. And obviously, like, it's not just that. There's a whole lot of influences. I mean, it's always wide for me. It's not just like I copied off of a thing, clearly.
Right.
I made it into my own, hopefully. I don't,
Well, that's what I was saying earlier, is that like I feel like you definitely made it your own. There is a foot in all of that stuff, but this is a Kelsey Waldon record. This is
for
very
sure.
much you, and it's your best one, frankly. And I love all your stuff.
That's
Um,
okay to say that. I think a lot of people feel that way about this, and that's cool. I mean, that's how
yeah.
people should be talking, and that's how I talk about, like, it's like arguing about your favorite John Prine song, your favorite Bob Dylan album. Like, what is it's like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think there's like different favorites at different times for me. Those artists. So it's like
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, when the music hits you, right? I mean, that's
Yeah,
the context is so important, which again is something that with this album hit me at the right time. I needed a lot of these songs. My Can is another one I needed. I'm going to see my folks tomorrow. Um, all from Kentucky. Everybody's from Kentucky, but everybody lives. Pretty much my whole family now lives in Central Florida.
yeah.
My grandmother's from Adair County, Kentucky. So is my mama, and Columbia specifically. And last summer, I don't know if I've talked about this on the show, but I think you'll appreciate and understand this. Like, I've been in Florida most of my life, and I hadn't been back to Kentucky in a minute. So last summer, I called it my grounded summer tour, and I drove up through the Carolinas, and then I went to Laurel Cove. Have you ever played Laurel Cove Festival?
I have, yeah.
Okay, all right. So that last year was my first time there, and I covered Laurel Cove. And incredible experience. Hopefully they'll have me back this year. Still haven't heard from them, folks. If you're listening at Laurel Cove,
John
have
Gray.
yeah. Have me back. Uh, so. I from there I drove across Kentucky to Adair County where my mom's side of the family's from, and my mom was born. And then I saw her old homestead and everything, like where the farm that she grew up on, and then went to Horse Cave where my dad was born and grew up. And then I was born in E-Town, so I drove up to E-Town and walked around and like got the lay of the land and everything. We lived in Radcliffe at the time,
Oh
but
yeah.
there was no hospital, so I was born in E-Town.
Mm.
So I got back to my roots, and when I was listening to my kin, I was just because I've been thinking about this so much lately as my parents age, and it's like I'm an only child. It's like difficult because I'm the one that has to be there, emotionally and
Yeah.
physically. But like some of those lyrics, like I'm the best and worst of my kin. Shit. I mean,
I
am
mean,
I ever the best and worst of my mama and my daddy?
yeah.
You know?
I mean, what else is there to say? I mean, it's like that's I mean, what how else how much more simple and real could I put it? I mean, yeah, I don't know, I've had a lot of yeah, you know, it's like coping with that and accepting that. Also
Mm,
understanding those are the things that make you so special and who you are. But but also, I think being aware of like, the same struggles I have is like I don't know, the addicts in my family and
mhm,
doing the same things that kind of I got taught to do that when I didn't even realize I did.
mm,
Kind of got like passed down where it's just like, okay, we don't have to, you don't have to do that. You don't have to treat other people that way. You don't have to like yeah, I think it's just realizing those things, but also being like, I'm also like, obviously in the song I'm talking to like, a lover and saying like, but don't you love that, that I am this way too, and
mhm,
kind of like, take me as I am, but also it's like, also understanding that I have to have the courage though to evolve too and change, and you know, kind of like stop the cycles that have been passed down and passed down and passed down and
buddy.
that nobody ever dealt with. And that's why we are placed with these things. And but but also realizing, yeah, like I said, like, but that's why you got character, that's why you're also that's why you're also like, I don't know, tough as nails. I had no choice.
Yeah.
you know Um, but also being thankful for that. And like I said, like, but being like, I'm ready to, not evolve in a bad way, obviously, not like evolve, like, uh, but just, yeah, just, I think, like I said, just breaking those cycles and, I don't have any children. My little sister does. And, I'm an aunt sissy. And,
No.
she, yeah, but, I know she feels that way too. She's always trying not to, you know, uh, do some of the same, she's trying to break those cycles too, for her kids.
Hmm.
So so yeah.
I love hard and I'm hard to love. That like that lyric and the way you sing it, I've been thinking about that a lot as I was in a relationship for 10 years and I've been single now for about a year. Not quite. And dipping my toe back into those waters and like realizing that reality about myself is,
Yeah, I mean,
but I love how you sing that line. Like you sing it with such conviction. That whole, I mean, God, that song's good. Um,
thank you. It's one of my I mean, we started playing that live before we even announced the record when we actually went on tour with Vincent Neil Emerson this past
mm,
February. It's really amazing to hear people shut the fuck up, you know? Like when I
uh-huh.
started singing it. I mean, I don't know, like, I mean, like, literally, like, people were just like, and then, like, and getting the hoots and hollers. And I'm like, okay, like this, you know, people were like, okay.
Well, there's so many moments on that
Yeah.
song. I mean, I hope I get this lyric correct, but got good taste and intellect, but I got a little red around my neck. God damn, do I relate to that lyric?
Well, kind of felt too easy to say that, but it's true.
Yeah.
I think also, with that too, it's just I don't know, there's so many people misunderstand so much, especially me as a songwriter, to be quite honest. I've felt like sometimes when I don't know, obviously me being a woman in the country music scene has been one thing that it's like, okay, you have a challenge of people taking you seriously, but not only am I that, I open my mouth and I sound country as fuck,
Yeah.
and it's like, but I'm still a songwriter and I'm an artist, and this is part of who I am. And like, I don't know, I just think people should be proud of their accents. And I don't know, it's like it's so cool. It's such a colorful thing to have. And it's like I just have never understood. I just sometimes have felt like people have wrote it off. But I mean, same old story for all my heroes. And Hazel Dickens herself and numerous people. I just feel like, there's just some people that kind of write you off,
Hmm.
because they hear how you talk. And
I actively tried. Sorry, I cut you off. I didn't mean
I
to.
don't know, no, no, it's okay. I mean, I was kind of finished. I just mean, uh, so it's basically saying like, yeah, I mean, but I am that. I'm also not going to change this other part of who I am. It's like I am country, but I also, have an open mind, and I feel all these other ways. And I don't know. It's just like I'm not like most people in this world don't fit into a cookie cutter. I don't know. I don't even know if we're as like political as everybody thinks we all are. I mean, I just mean like, I think we're all just people,
Hmm.
and we all kind of relate a lot more than we would think. And I'm thinking, yeah, I just I don't know, it's just being like you can still be you know, you can still be intelligent and still have an accent.
Well, I spent.
Anyway,
I mean,
yeah.
I spent the first part of my college years trying to lose my accent, and I carried on that way for a long time. And you probably even right now don't hear much of it, but like I remember I didn't know I had an accent until I went to baseball camp in like the seventh grade, and this kid goes, "Where are you from? Tennessee?" I was like, "No, I'm from Kentucky. How did you know that? What? I don't understand." He's like, "Your accent." And I was like,
Like, God, no.
I
No.
just didn't even know I had an accent, you know? I didn't realize that was a thing. And I kind of did the Stephen Colbert thing where people weren't taking me seriously. And so I
Mhm.
actively worked on losing my accent. And then the last couple of years, I've been just letting it be more natural as much as possible, and just kind of let it flow a little bit. Like I forget what I said yesterday, but my friend was like mocked me back, and I was like, listen, this is how I normally would talk if I hadn't spent 20 years talking the other way,
Hey,
you
yeah, get
know?
around different friends. What are we?
Yeah, yeah. Well, we don't spend a lot of time together.
No. I mean,
You just happened to show up where I was.
I posted, yeah, something recently, and people definitely, I mean, uh, commented about, well, so, I mean, on that topic, I mean, yeah, I mean, I leaned into a lot of things on this record.
Hmm.
Leaned into obviously being completely vulnerable and real, but also like leaned into like I was just like, okay, like I'm about to lean into like me. Like I'm about to lean into like my personality, like everything. And yeah, so I mean, my point in saying that is that like, in Tiger Lily to say like when the maters turn ripe on the vine, and like I had some people I like comment on Facebook or something. They're like, maters. I'm like, are we really just saying that? Or I don't know. I'm just like, did I stutter? Did I stutter? Like, I mean, it's just like, yeah, can you hear? That's what I
Yeah.
said. That's how we talk. I mean, I mean, I don't know. It's just, It's just fun. Any of my heroes too would say that, and that's how we talk. I mean, I don't know. John Hartford would probably put Maters in a song. Who cares?
Yeah, no,
You know what I
seriously.
mean? It's
Yeah. Well, I mean, one of the
like
things that
whatever.
you talked at the beginning about this record being so full of truth and it, so like you wouldn't be true to yourself if you didn't say Maters, right? Like
Yeah.
one of the things that I held on to even when I kind of worked on losing my accent is like I the whole time, no matter what, I have said naked, and I will keep saying naked.
Nikki.
Okay. And then I don't know if this is a totally Kentucky thing or if it's regional in Kentucky, but to this day, and I'm not letting go of it, I say antenna.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, I think adding an A because I mean, honestly, if I wasn't saying Maters, I would say tomato.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah,
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 like these tomatoes.
yeah, 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 yeah.
And so yeah, I mean, like, piano, like instead of piano, I mean
Uh-huh.
that's like my I feel like my granny she added a good, A at the end of everything. So yeah, the
Yeah.
antenna, yeah, I would understand what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah. I listened to I talked to my grandmama this morning, and like I could she ain't lost a bit of her accent. She's lived in Central Florida for, 30 years or whatever, but she has not lost a bit of her accent. And I love it. I love talking to her, and I slip into it a little bit more too when I talk to her, or when I talk to my
Oh.
dad, which is great.
Well, I mean, well, yeah, I mean that's kind of where that line that was just kind of inspired by yeah, I mean it's just kind of being like, yeah, this is fight me, whatever.
Oh, that's great.
You know.
So I have a couple of, this has been such a delight, but I have just a couple more things for you. And one of them is, I've been thinking about this a lot uh, as I enter this like phase of my life, and so much has changed in I mean, in the 6 years since I last talked to you, so much has changed, 5.5 years, so much has changed in my life and in the world. And I just think a lot about purpose. I've been thinking a whole lot about purpose, and as life throws curveballs, and as you just mentioned, you've been through a lot lately. Um, and I just been thinking about what gets me up in the morning. Um, and I'm curious for you, like what is it that gets your feet to hit the floor in the morning?
Honestly, I've thought a lot about that too recently, especially with there's a lot of stuff that recently has just like happened, like well, like my dad's super young, but like he's in the nursing home now and he's only
Mm,
64, and I won't go into everything that put him there. Pretty fucking heavy shit. But it's like I don't know. I've just been thinking, my granny passed away last June. Also, that's what Tiger Lilies was inspired by. And you know, she had dementia for the last couple years of her life, and there was still so much of her still there, even in the very end. But I guess I've just been thinking a lot about just I don't know, man. We just need to live. We need to live. We need to live if we can live. We have our health and our mind, right
mm,
now. And I mean, stuff's really tough. I know it's really hard, especially for like an artist, working artist. I have those thoughts that everyone else has too. You're just like, is this worth it? Is anybody, I could sit here all day and say, well, I'm not at this level or I'm not at this
mm,
level. But it's also like when I zoom out, it's just like, look at what you've literally been able to do. I mean,
mm,
I know it's crazy because it feels like I am at maybe the hardest part of my career because I'm doing it, like I'm doing it and I would say I'm successful just because I am doing it and I have a career, but it's also the hardest because it's like okay, it's like well, it's just like money and like basically just like keeping it going becomes hard. It's kind of like the middle, you're it's like I'm chipping away at that huge rock, and one day it's just, it might just fall down. But
Mm.
I think all of it's really about consistency, and I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't say I just pop right out of bed every single morning. I mean, sometimes I do, like when I have to, do great podcasts and stuff like that and talk to people. But there's other days I've just been like, okay, like it's okay if you rest today. I don't know, I've had some like, I'm sure you might have grown up this way too, but I had it ingrained in me for a long time that like I could not rest. Like it was like you're worthless if
Mm.
you rest. It's like, well, no, I can because I literally like bust my ass like on the road like every other,
Hmm.
for like weeks at a time. I mean, I'm kind of going off on a rabbit trail here,
No, it's all really interesting though.
but
I appreciate the
yeah, no,
thoughtful
I mean,
response.
I think yeah, I think honestly, I mean, all that to say, it actually does coincide with what I'm trying to say. I mean, my passion keeps me, wakes me up. I feel like the people around me that care about me, I'm just always constantly trying to keep a good head on my shoulders, like, you know, I don't know, trying not to fall back into old things that I know aren't good for me. I feel like that wolf tried to get in the door a little bit this past couple months because
Mm.
I had some really incredibly heartbreaking things kind of just, you know, me and my little sister both went through it. And yeah, but it's just like life is always going to be, there's always going to be bad things happening. And there's always going to be hard things, and there's always going to be like, but at the same time there's all these beautiful things, and there's reasons to live, so and there's reasons to I think hearing from people like you, and also like when I go out in the road and I see the connection, like when I see in real time like what my music has meant to people, like
Mm.
that means like you're just like, oh, because I don't know, I say all the time that we don't need to be valid. Yeah, I think it took me a long time to learn this, but like we don't need to be validated by like, good praise. We don't need to be validated by like people talking shit about us. Like we need to validate ourselves, we need to know that we are worth it even if we wake up and take our first breath. You know what I mean? Like we need to know that we deserve to live even if nobody's listening. So I don't know. I think I'm really, really thankful that I have, even with, all the stuff that like I've been through recently. I mean, I had a friend tell me this, like, she was just like, I think though, it's like your determination and your dedication. It's like, I don't know, there's like still something inside me that just like keeps me,
Mm.
keeps me ticking, even when there's stuff that like, and I'm really thankful for that. I'm thankful that I have things to look forward to.
Mm.
Um, and, So yeah, I don't know. I think yeah, I think when I zoom out, you know, I'm like, okay, you are doing a good job.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
That's so great.
So I
Yeah.
don't know. I think all those things keep me going. I mean, it's funny, like I know we're getting near the end of the hour, but yeah, and nobody asked about this either, but I was just looking at like, I have this little app on my phone that's like I am sober app or whatever, and
Mm.
like I was just looking at all the reasons I've forgotten I put in there. Like, why. I mean, it's just similar reasons, like why I wake up in the morning. It's just yeah, just I think I think my passion keeps me going, and I don't want to throw what's been handed to me away like I have recently watched certain people do
Mm.
in my life. And
Do you,
just
Do you feel comfortable sharing some of those things that got you sober? Some of I, I know
Yeah,
that's
I
a
mean,
pretty personal thing, but
no, I mean, I think just yeah, no, I mean, I can talk about it. I mean, obviously, like every day is, I don't know, some days it's super hard, you know. Some days I go by and don't think about it at all. And then like, you know, then I'll have days. I mean, I definitely had days in the past couple months where I was like, okay, I just want to like drive my car to a bar
hmm
and get completely shit faced. You know, and like I hadn't felt that way in a long time, but I was just in a really low place. But I didn't do it. I didn't do it, you know.
Awesome. Yeah.
I think a lot of stuff. I mean, my career, I mean, I guess I just used to function that way all the time, but there's no way I would have been able to put out the records I've put out, you know, if I was still doing what I was doing. I mean, I can sing now after 2.5 weeks and stay in pitch. You know, my voice is like, I don't know, honestly feels better than ever. And I don't mean that like, I mean, it's just, you know, so much stronger. I mean, there's numerous reasons. I mean, I mean, my focus,
Mm.
I mean, every day of my life, I was battling like just getting over my hangover and then like dealing with that anxiety that comes with it. And then like, you know, and I don't know, missing out on a bunch of stuff, forgetting a bunch of stuff, um, being really mean to the people around me that were just trying to help me.
Mm.
Reminds me of someone else I know in my life.
Mm.
I can. And and you know,
Uh-huh.
it's just you know, I don't know, trying to push away anybody that was trying to love me because I didn't really think I deserved love, you know. It's like super, super heavy.
Mm.
But yeah, I think, you know, I look at mostly like I don't know. And I think something yeah, that recently just kind of went down with someone very close to me. I
Mm.
think that is anytime I think about picking it back up, I think about what has happened there.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, you know, I think I don't know, and there's just it would definitely make my life harder, I think now if it entered my life again, you know, it's just like just another hurdle to jump. So I don't know, everybody's got to do what they got to do, but I know for me, I go pretty hard, you know. I can't it's part of my personality.
Mm.
I don't know how people just have one drink.
Mm.
So if you can, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not
you
everybody's
can.
wired. Yeah. I mean, my father's an alcoholic in recovery and has been for a long time. I've seen him fall off the wagon and I've seen how bad it can get. And I drink. I don't have my dad's appetite, but I have to be careful. I have to watch it. Like I have to take periodic breaks and check in with myself and I'm sober curious. I mean, like recently I took a couple weeks off and I was like my anxiety was lower. You know, I I was in great shape. And then,
No, I
you
mean, I
know,
just
like there's
hard.
so many examples, you know?
It's been hard for like 12 years. You know, I just didn't even really know who I was anymore without it.
Hmm.
That's another aspect too. It was just like a huge part of my personality too at some point. And you're just like, you know, but yeah, I mean, I'm not, you know, I'm not trying to be like, you know, I'm not like a youth minister or something out here. I'm not trying to like tell people they,
Convert people.
you know, I mean, you know, we all still, you know, smoke and whatnot. I just never had you know, that's pretty chill to me. I never really had a issue with that, you know.
I wish it worked for
That,
me.
yeah,
I can't do
that
it.
doesn't really tap my hillbilly rage like
Right,
bourbon does. You know what I mean?
right.
And of course I miss it. You know, it's like an old friend. It's like that old friend that you don't maybe want to see. You know, it's I don't know.
Mm-mm.
It's you still miss it because it's like someone that you spend a lot of time with, you know.
Mm-mm.
But 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 I know I'm better off, and I just kind of, yeah, there's a couple things that keep me, especially right now, I think that just keep me being like, no, that's not that's that's not what you want to do. Cause I think, yeah, you just I think sometimes too, you just think, oh, I could do that again. Maybe one day I'll be that, like, just little old lady sipping on her Woodford, and just like, I don't think so. What I just witnessed with my family member. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I am that person.
Hmm.
I think I just don't think I am. And I think I just have to accept that. So, and it's okay.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing all that.
Okay, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm still, honestly, I'm having more fun. I'm having more fun because I don't get, I mean, Lord, I think my friends and family are all very, very grateful that I'm not, they're just like, thank the Lord. Kelsey's not, I mean, my band members, everything. I just think, you know, and for my career and for my well-being,
Mm,
yeah, I think I need to just try to take care of myself.
yeah,
But
that's
I don't
good.
know, if I ever go off, and I don't know, I just hope everybody can, I hope if I ever break one day, I hope I can just not, I don't want that to happen, but I hope I can not judge myself. Hope other people
Mm.
won't judge me. Hopefully I can, but one day at a time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, no, no, no. Anybody can always ask me about that. It's like it's whatever. I don't know. Some people don't feel comfy, but it's
I like talking about it. Anybody that's
uh,
willing to talk about it, because like I said, my family's full of addicts, and so I have to just be aware, and it's something I think about a lot. And I've gone through periods where I definitely was drinking way too much and too often, and then I go through periods where I'm like, I don't want to touch it, and I'm kind of in this middle ground somewhere where it's like
yeah.
when I put it down, I don't miss it. But when I'm doing it, it's a habit like anything else. And
I don't understand how people drink one. I don't understand why you. I loved being drunk. I don't. I mean, I really did. I'm just being completely honest. But anyway,
see, I like drinking. I don't like being drunk. Like I enjoy being out at bar. Like
so
I like to have a drink. Now that's not to say I don't get drunk. I do, but like I don't ever set out to get drunk. That is never my intention. It just ends up happening sometimes. But
yeah,
but then
I
there
did.
are
I was
times
like,
like, especially like if I'm driving, like if I'm driving, I barely touch it. Sometimes I don't touch it at all because I just
see,
don't.
that's not. Yeah, that's not how I mean, I didn't understand that, like, there wasn't a casual. Like, I'm like, just take 6 shots every time. Like, you don't just do that. Like I mean, just in the, I mean, just God, I mean, my anxiety, I mean, that's how I used to deal with it. I mean, it's
Mm,
like, and it's like, okay, like now it's like, I don't do that. I go take a walk, or I go learn to
hmm.
breathe, or I like, I just like
Yeah.
did not know how to manage that. I mean, I just, I mean, yeah, it's a, like I said, everybody's got to do what works for them. And it's fine that we're talking about it, actually, because it's, I mean, yeah, it's a big theme of this record, obviously. I mean, it's, I mean, being on the inside of it and on the outside, and just watching someone I love very much deteriorate. And it's like, yeah, I mean, it's like songs like what, Lost in My Island. I mean, it's like, yeah, that's like what it's, I,
Mm,
I had, and I was like, well, I'm just going to say it because I feel like that's like an unsung hero too. I hope people
that
like,
song's so good.
I hope people appreciate that song, like, as
Mm.
much as, like, because we're always like, I hope people, because it wasn't like a single or whatever, but
I'm trying to think of the lyric that stuck me in that. I wish I'd written it down. I can't think of the lyric that
it's
really.
okay. I mean, that's what I'm saying though. It's just like, yeah, I mean, there's part of me that's always going to be wishing I was
Yeah.
closer to honky tonk.
Yeah.
And hopefully in that way too, it's like you can laugh and be like, yeah, this is, I don't know, we don't have to be so. I mean, I'm just being real, and hopefully you can. dance to it or whatever, I think that's kind of, my type of country that I am really inspired by too. It's like, yeah, like Hank Sr., or like Vernon Oxford, all those like super hillbilly, like they're just like, yeah, like I am a drunk, it's like, you know what I mean? Like that's just what back then it was, it wasn't like,
Yeah.
I was just a little less. I mean, it's kind of like irony or something, I don't know.
Yeah. I really appreciate the way you talk about it because I think there's this sometimes there's like there's such an all or nothing kind of attitude about sobriety sometimes instead of a more real conversation about what led to the decision to get sober and like the struggles that you go through.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of times it's like this hard stop, and like I said with my father's journey, I've just seen, I mean, he won't drink for a few years and then all of a sudden he ends up 4 counties over and doesn't know how he got there,
Mhm.
and like that's how it works for him, and how it has always worked for him. But most of the time he's been sober since the 90s.
Yeah.
Um, and I think it's important to have those conversations because I've seen, like I said, I've seen it up close. And then like I said, with my own use of alcohol, like it's not it's not that clean. Like it's complicated, and the way I think about it and feel about it, and the way I, the different seasons in life, and how that, there are some seasons where it's a lot easier to just not want it, and then there are seasons when it's not. I mean, what you were just talking about. My own dad went into the hospital in 2022, May of 2022. These last 3 years have been a motherfucker, and he was in the hospital or a rehab center for a year and a half, and then my relationship was crumbling at the time. And I think about like
Yeah.
I can look back on that now, that ghost of myself, right? And I can think about like how I was using alcohol to cope then versus this season in my life where dad is out of the hospital and I'm kind of turning the corner on the breakup and like all these things are different.
Seasons.
Yeah, it's a different season. And I just like this
Like,
ghost doesn't need it as much, and doesn't think about it as much. I didn't need it back then. I just used it,
yeah, no,
but
that's what we all are doing, and your dad's just a person too,
yeah, yeah.
right? And
Um,
he has his own pressures and all those things, just like we
mhm,
do.
mhm.
But we all make our choices, don't we? We all make our choices.
Ain't that the truth?
Um,
Um,
anyway, I
yeah.
know we've talked for a while here.
This has been awesome. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I don't know if you have any more time. There's a quick question if you have time. If you got to go, I'll
No, just
get
real
out of your
quick.
way.
I'm sure you'll like edit some of this too, because we had a little.
I'll edit like the downtime, but I feel like you've given me so much gold. There's not going to be much that I want to cut out. If that's
Good,
okay with
yeah.
you. I always say if there's something that you felt like you said you didn't. I did this recently for somebody actually, but like if there's something that you felt like you didn't want to divulge, I can always cut it. But I feel like this has been such a great conversation. We usually end though on what you're getting down on, so that's the art that has you
Sure,
fired up right now.
man. I don't, honestly, I'm like, have I listened to anything else except what? Like, I've just
Except Hank Jr.
well, yeah, that, but like, no, I've just been, well, just no, I wasn't even gonna say that. I was gonna say I've just been in the middle of my album
Oh,
roll.
uh-huh.
Like, I'm like, have I listened to anything else but me? No, not really. Not that I'm sitting there like doing that, but well, just man, I think I'm always just I loved Gil and Dave's new record, like Gillian
Oh,
Rollins. I mean, they've
so
inspired me.
good.
Um, you know, they've inspired me since like Time the Revolution. I mean, that all that came out when I was in high school, and I don't know. Sometimes it just taps into such a thing for me. Well, just such a core of like my inspiration. I feel like
Mm,
so that's inspired me. I don't know. I'd have to think about anything new that's caught. I know everybody's into MJ Linderman right now.
mm.
I feel like I haven't really dove in, but I just heard some stuff on the radio the other day, and I was just like, man, that kind of like I don't know. Kind of like put me in my feels a little bit. I was like,
Yeah.
I gotta dig into that more.
Yeah, he's really good.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's just like every once in a while there's just like this thing that just
Hmm.
taps it, everybody think that's super cool. I mean, I'm always digging back into, of course, all my bluegrass and
Mm.
all time kind of like well of inspiration. Um, I feel like I would have to sit here and think about it. I kind of started listening to this that super rare, that Uneasy Rider Charlie Daniels record. I'd never really heard it.
Mm-hmm.
Like digging on that for a minute. Oh, Dave Evans, who's like one of my, I mean, he's like an old bluegrasser. He passed away actually recently. He was kind of a legend that never got his due. But
Yeah, I don't know that name.
oh
I
man,
don't think.
if you're into soulful, if you love Chris Stapleton or any, I mean, it's pure Kentucky. But that's a CD that actually, yeah, I put it in the Comanche, and um man, I was just vibing. I was just really, that was tapping into me. Love Dave Evans. Of course, I've been a fan forever though.
Yeah.
But you know how you like, you hear something again, even if it's like something that, was one of your huge inspirations, and you just don't, just all over again, you're just like,
Well,
wow,
I
like,
mean, right after this, I've got some work to do, but then after that, I'll be chilling, getting ready to go see my buddies play, and I'm gonna dive into all the Charlie Daniels records I've got and all the Waylon records, because I got a whole bunch of that shit, like in my, my vinyl collection. I love all that stuff. I don't have any Hank Jr., I don't think, but I've got all that other stuff. I'm gonna dive right into all of that
you need
after this,
this
because yeah, sometimes you got to revisit it. Those things. I think especially those like classic records, a lot of times you listen to them so many times, and then I mean, unfortunately, Waylon ain't making any more records, so there's only so many, and I've listened to all of them 1,000 times, but I put them down for years, sometimes at a time, and um, I need to go grab my copy of Honky Tonk Heroes and put it on tonight, which is what I'm gonna do.
too. But I mean, there's like, I was thinking about it new. I was just looking at my Spotify, remembering like, just like, I mean, there's recent artists too that I love. Like Doechii, I think she's like super awesome.
Okay, I
Uh,
don't know who that is.
she has like the album with like the alligator on the front. Like, you don't know, she's like she's a female rapper, hip hop artist, R&B. But I just think her stuff is super interesting and cool. And a lot of my peers, I just think are doing, I don't know, they inspire me all the time. You
Hmm.
know, my friend Christina Murray just let out a really great record on New West called Little Blue. Um,
She's been on the Marinade. She's great.
yeah, and yeah, I don't know. I probably sound kind of boring, but I
No,
would
that's all great. Yeah.
I'd probably think of something.
Yeah. It always happens where, like, right
Yeah,
after the guest is always
yeah.
like, oh, by the way, I thought about
I'll be like, oh
and this.
yeah, I was
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
into that, but it's like, yeah, so much. Uh,
Yeah.
I am in rollout mode, so
Well, I'm glad you are, because this record's incredible. It comes out on June 20th. And Kelsey, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure listening to this record and spending time with it and getting to know these songs and then to ask you these questions and for you to be so present in this conversation. I'm just really grateful. Thank you so much.
thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
Kelsey Waldon, y'all. Thank you so much, Kelsey. Thank all of you for listening. KelseyWaldon.com for all things Kelsey. The song you're hearing in this episode is Tiger Lilies. Go order a physical copy of Kelsey's album, Every Ghost, which includes that gem and comes out on June 20th. MarinadePodcast.com for all things The Marinade. Follow us on all the socials. Subscribe and give us a 5-star rating on your podcast app. Tell a friend about the show. These are all free ways to support The Marinade. Go do that now while you're listening, please. It makes a big difference for us and costs so little of your time and energy. Y'all, we've got some momentum right now, not just with this show, but also make sure that you're following my other podcast, Life's Greatest Hits, on Instagram so you can get updates about that, which is a show with my dear friend, Jordan Foley. We have a new episode that's only a couple weeks old featuring Medium Raw by Early James. We are 9 episodes deep now, coming up on a year this summer. I've been doing it almost once a month. We missed 1 or 2 months so far. Just 1 month actually so far. And we've recently made a slight shift in format. Instead of a vinyl swap, we listen to a record together and then sit down to record our impressions. And the idea was born out of our experience doing just that on the day that Jason Isbell's Foxes in the Snow was released. Jordan and I had an absolute blast making that one, and the feedback has been really encouraging. Make sure to subscribe on your podcast app so you don't miss a thing. Thank you, thank you, thank you for listening. And if you really like what we're doing on this Marinade thing, please consider joining our Patreon community. Just $2 a month, y'all. You can gain access to Patreon exclusive content like our show Jason's Journey, where I talk about the moments that shape my creative life and provide a window into the process of making the Marinade. I quit my day job. I'm trying to make creative work my full-time job. I do have something lined up until I can make that happen. But if you've ever been curious about our Patreon, now would be a great time to dip your toe in and see if the water is to your liking. We've got some very cool stuff in the works, including a Marinade book club if you're interested. Just $2 a month, y'all. And you can try a free trial of Patreon. See if you like it. No pressure. Try it for 7 days. Set a reminder on your phone in case you want to cancel. Keep going if you dig it. I've been trying to put a lot of content on there. A lot more like Jason's Journeys, where I talk about the moments that shape my creative life, and as many other things as I can do. So, like, I love this book club idea. It hasn't gotten off the ground yet, but there is some interest, and I think we're going to actually read a biography of about John Prine. So, check it out. If you want to support us financially, but you don't want to commit to a monthly subscription, I totally get that. You can Venmo or PayPal us just at the Marinade. We're covering Bonnaroo for the 3rd year in a row, y'all. Life's Greatest Hits is looking to go on the road. Those experiences are only able to happen because of the generosity of our listeners. I take all the money from the Patreon, I put it right back into the show, and it allows us to do some really cool things. We've got another, I can't say much yet. We got a really cool idea for Life's Greatest Hits in the works, and I talked about it a little bit over on Patreon. Above all, we're thankful that you listen and spread the word about the Marinade. Until next time, go out and create something. Cheers, y'all.